the testicles have great surface area. You know what I'm saying? And if you lube them up, now they're wetter, so they're more sensitive. It also kind of adds a little lube to the motion, whatever's going on up there. You know what I'm saying? So it just kind of adds your balls to the game. It's like put me in, coach. You know what I'm saying? It's putting the balls, taking the balls off the bench.
Welcome back to the podcast. I started this podcast as a way to help Black men in all aspects of our lives. Studies show on average we lose 2.8 years of our life when we're under heavy stress. And I think we can gain those 2.8 years back if we express ourselves healthily. Stick with me as I interview therapists, doctors, advocates, activists, and friends about how we can be better as Black men and as a Black community. If you're not subscribed to us on YouTube and following us on Instagram and TikTok, you'll definitely want to do that. Without further ado, let's get into the episode.
All right, y'all. We're here with Goody. Goody, we are glad to have you back on the podcast. You are, for the people that don't know, you're a sexologist, you're a master level social worker, and you're a public health professional.
Yes.
First of all, we had you on the podcast before, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought it was an amazing episode.
It was.
I learned a lot.
I'm glad.
I learned a lot. I definitely learned a lot, right?
Good shit.
Started putting clips up on,
on the social medias. We won't gonna say which one.
Yeah,
we're not trying to get sued.
Yeah, on social media, right? Started putting clips up on social media, and I've never been so embarrassed at my community. I've never been so embarrassed at how my community responded. And you had hit me up. I was in Atlanta at the time, right?
Oh, okay.
Right? So I was in Atlanta at the time, and I was doing work. And I remember you hitting me up like, yo, this may be a good time for you to take a look at the comments and, this is what, protecting Black women looks like,
right?
Wait,
let me.
I remember you saying that, right? Oh, yeah.
Protect Black people out here.
Protect Black people. I don't know if they can see if you got to pull it up a little bit higher.
Oh, okay.
It's all good. Yeah, it's all good. So anyways, right? I remember you hitting me up like, yo, just take a look at the post. And I'm going in the post and I'm seeing like dudes just straight up just triggered and arguing with you. And
they were activated about something I said.
I think it was a clip where we were talking about you don't want a husband, you want a partner.
Correct. No, what I said was a husband is a liability.
Oh, okay.
That's what I said. Mm-hmm. I would think the word liability is what was like, oh shit. No,
yeah, what you mean I'm a liability?
Right, that's exactly what the comment was.
Mm-hmm. What you mean I'm a liability? Because
but I went on to further explain the difference between the traditional understanding of husband and the traditional understanding of partner and how those show up in a relationship. So it wasn't like I was just like, yeah, fuck y'all. You know what I'm saying? I explained the difference in how you can be each, right? But they were in the comments wild, and I was not shocked or surprised. I was disappointed because I live in a very affirming bubble. I live in a very validating bubble because I do my work.
Right.
I have been in this game 17 years. I ain't never pitched anything. Everything I've ever done is somebody came to me because they saw my work. You know what I'm saying? So I live in a very affirming space on purpose. So for people to come out the woodwork on some shit that I spit that was a fact, it wasn't even an opinion. Like we looked up the definition of husband and the definition of partner. It wasn't even an opinion because facts ain't feelings. And these non-emotional, non-liability creatures was on one. I knew they was coming for my appearance, my weight, my credentials, my credibility, my relationship status. And I was like, get the...
You know something that you mentioned that's very, very important that we need to talk about? A lot of men will say facts over feelings, logic over emotion, and then we'll be in the comments arguing with people. And it's like, bro, you're triggered right now.
This is an emotional response. And I think it's not even like they're not even arguing. They're going out of their way to disrespect somebody that they don't know. Or they trying to like humble me, break me down to size because I'm fat and I'm ugly and I'm single. First of all, those are their worst things to be. They're worse things to be, and everybody ugly to somebody, and nobody's beautiful to everybody.
That's a bar.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think Idris Elba is ashy. So I mean, it's giving. You know what I'm saying? But they tried to come for everything. Oh, she's single. Am I single? Is that singleness? That's not singleness. Even if it was back when I was pimping, that's my period of time I call single. So you know what I'm saying? Like they tried to take me down a notch and make me like recant my statement or prove that they were right, and in real life they were proving my point.
Right.
And people were I was appreciative because there were people in the comments that were like, you're proving her point, right?
Right.
A liability is somebody that go out their way to disrespect somebody they don't know.
Right.
People were caping for me, but I wasn't shocked or surprised.
I was very, very disappointed in the community.
But unless that's a litmus test of like your perception of the growth that you kind of assign to people,
right?
And what's the work you really got to do. What I'm saying?
But also you got to realize too, though, right? Like a lot of times, there's a lot of people. First of all, I've had to learn with social media, you can't get caught up in comments.
Facts. Don't read the comments.
Because here's the thing, right? The people that are wrong are normally the loudest.
Imposters don't have imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm. They don't have, that's a fact, right? That's a fact. That's true, right? The people that are wrong are normally the loudest, and those are the people that's going to comment. And so when you look at the engagement, there are thousands of likes. Mm-hmm. Those are people that are liking in agreement and not necessarily commenting. They see it, they're like, oh, this makes perfect sense. I'm going to like it, I'm out.
Correct.
The people that are disagreeing
are the ones that have to take the time to type.
Are taking the time to comment out. And when you look at the ratio between likes versus comments, there's way more likes than there are comments.
Absolutely.
There's way more shares and conversations that are being had because of the content, right? Yeah. So it's doing what it needs to do. Mm-hmm. And there are people that are actually healing and growing as a result of it. But then you also have the stragglers.
Yeah, but then you also see how much work you have to do with those stragglers. It gives you a point on the timeline where they are.
Right, exactly. And so what I try not to get too caught up in, because it can be very, very demoralizing when you're doing this work, when you're having these conversations. People don't understand how much work gets put into doing these things, right? Mm-hmm. Like, there's a lot of work that gets put into doing these things. I'm not just, Goody, pull up at this time and we just gonna sit down and just talk. Like, that's not how it works. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of organization behind it, trying to figure out what content, what topics, what are things that we need to talk about? Mm-hmm. What are things that needs to be shared and understood, right? And so when you do all of that work and then you put something out and you're putting it out with good intention, because I don't put things out to go viral.
Right.
Never.
Right.
That's never the intention. The intention is if it helps you, share it. Right. And even if you don't want to share it, I hope it helps you.
Yeah.
Right. And so when I put something out and I see like all of these negative comments and people bashing guests and insults and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, bro, like, why am I doing this then? So it could be demoralizing in that sense.
To see the feedback, the negative feedback in writing, and other stuff is just kind of graphic.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And so I'm just glad that I know that there was a lot of healthy conversation around what you put out.
There was.
And it was a lot of stuff that you taught me that I felt like that you also taught other people. And in that same breath or along that same conversation, I wanted to talk today about Black men and masculinity a little bit. And you're
trying to get me talked about again.
No. I'm not.
Goody said.
No. I really just want to understand, like, what do you feel like what are your thoughts on where we are with masculinity in the community? Because I feel like I just put up some content about masculine energy, feminine energy, all that kind of stuff. I don't normally like talking about it because I just think it gets, I think it's a really polarizing topic.
If people understood it wouldn't be though.
And people, I think people don't really understand. And so I want you to kind of break it down for us, please.
Okay. Well, the main reason that masculine and feminine energy, like when you type it or whatever, it's inflammatory for most people, is because for women, an insult is being called masculine, right? Mm-hmm. I'm considered masculine if I'm a boss, if I'm ambitious, if I'm goal-oriented, if I am communicative, if I'm rational, if I'm logical. Those are essentially, usually, traditionally masculine traits. So I'm going to be assigned a masculine energy because I have positive traits, whereas a man who is loving and thoughtful and kind and is a leader, and those are feminine energy, nurturing to their children. Mm-hmm. That is feminine energy. Now, you don't feel like a mom when you're being a dad. You feel like a parent, right? And when we talk about the divine masculine and the divine feminine, when they're not weaponized, like I just said, they can be powerful things. But if you really think about the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and you think about, God and all this other stuff, you think about the God divine energy is neither masculine nor feminine. So why are we polarizing divinity and making it masculine or feminine. I want a man that is funny, kind, respectful, nurturing, thoughtful, funny, confident, a leader, like all of the things. Why do I only get to experience anger and lust from my male partner? Why can't he be connected to his other things? A better dude, you're a better lover in general if you are not fucking for your nut. You're thinking about your partner. Somehow that's feminine for dudes to do. What? I would think that you would want to be in the group chat on a good vibe. And if you're a responsive, thoughtful, attentive lover, you going up in the group chat. But if you fucking with anger and lust, you'll be in the group chat for a different reason. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we want to get those notches on our belt. We want to be that lover boy. We want to be, that dude. But that dude is a good lover. That dude is patient. That dude is kind. That dude. So you don't even have the space. Your definition of masculinity is so narrow that you don't even have the space. You might fuck a lot of hoes, but they didn't like it. You know what I'm saying? You got one chance to make a first impression. If you don't have at least a couple of people that you're having sex with in rotation, then they wasn't coming back for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Volume versus quality. But we want to have that bravado and don't understand how expansive that bravado really is. And so when we weaponize the feminine and masculine energy, because we think about what it is and how that's not what it's supposed to be on the other end of the stick. So a man isn't supposed to be nurturing or kind or thoughtful, and a woman isn't supposed to be goal-oriented and logical and ambitious. Like, what? What kind of doofus is like, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I don't want my children to be that. So why would I want a partner that's that?
Right.
And I think a lot of times people say what they think they want, not understanding what they really asking for.
Get into that. What do you mean by that?
Like I said, a kind partner, a thoughtful partner. I am the spouse of a sneakerhead. I do not get flowers. I get sneakers. He got me these. Fire,
by the way.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, now he also gets me flowers sometimes because he's thoughtful and he's paying attention. Now, a caveman might be like, man, he get shoes cost way more than flowers, and she ungrateful, and he being a simp because he giving her.
The simp word kills me nowadays.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what happens, right? But this man is happily married, and we have a balance that a lot of folk don't have. He ain't posting me every 5 minutes. Every other post is not his face. People see him out and be like, "Where's Goody?" But I don't even post him like that.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? And he is wilding on Instagram. Wilding. You know what I'm saying? But because we good, it's me and him. We balance each other. That's what our partnership looks like. So ain't nothing gonna happen between me and him that me and him can't handle. Everything else, any other conflicts are from outside. But it's because I am both. I feel like I possess masculine and feminine energy, if we want to give it that, right? The divinity is the duality. So I feel like in my most God adjacent self, I'm embodying all the positive things about who I am as a person. And some of those things may register as masculine, some of those things may register as feminine, but the sum of those parts is me, and therefore I'm in balanced energy. Why can't we be in balanced energy? Doesn't that seem like an imbalance? Like if masculine's over here and feminine's over here, and you got to be more of one than another, isn't that an imbalance on the scales? Why wouldn't you want to be a balanced? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think, I understand what you're saying wholeheartedly. And I don't even like having the masculine and feminine energy conversation anymore, because I realize that whenever we have that conversation, we're essentially, even if we're trying to explain it, we're essentially making them two completely different things. And what men think logic-wise is they get into black and white thinking, where it's like I have to have one or the other.
Correct.
If I'm feminine, then I'm not masculine. If I'm masculine, then I'm not feminine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so if I'm a man, then I have to be masculine. That means I must not be anything feminine.
Correct.
Right? And anytime we talk about femininity, anything related to that, it's like it's the F word at this point. It's like you can't even say it to black men. It's like, you want me to be feminine? I hate that word. Don't even say it.
Because there's nothing worse than being a woman. There's nothing worse than being a woman. Nothing worse than being a black woman, because we at the bottom of the bottom. Like, so we not trying to do none of that bitch shit. Pull your skirt down. I used to hear my husband's friends say that to each other. They would be like, pull your skirt down. And I was like, who are these motherfucking cavemen you hanging out with? Like, I'm clutching the pearls that I don't even wear. I'm like, did this motherfucker just tell you to pull your skirt down? Like, I was, you know what I'm saying? So that's what, it's nothing worse than that. Because if it's feminine, it's not masculine, then we gotta be men. So we don't want none of that. I'm not nurturing my children. I'm not nurturing my wife. I'm not nurturing my partners, none of that. Because that's not, I'm all the way. And again, it's that imbalance. If I'm all the way man, my man side heavy, you don't got nothing. That's a complete imbalance. You can't be. There are no absolutes in science. There are no absolutes in nature. It's not masculine or feminine in nature. If you take a flower, a rose, one rose petal, and pull the petals off, every petal is going to be a different hex code. The same flower petals ain't the same petals on the same flower ain't even the same color. And you want to be all the way one way or all the way another way.
We don't understand the natural order of things.
I mean, you can't get into the natural order of things because then you're talking about nature. And they're like, gay ain't nature. And yeah, you look at nature. Yeah, it is. So as fuck. Trans people, yeah, nature. Check it out. They start off one way and turn it to something else. Like, so people don't even understand what nature is. That's not, again, people using words mean things. Motherfuckers using words, they don't understand what they mean.
Talk about that nature point.
So with nature, orientation is not a thing. Gender is not a thing. And people want to say, it's unnatural, being same-sex attracted, being gay, being queer. Oh, that's not natural. It's not natural. Well, look at nature. Dogs are bisexual. The fuck? Like, listen. There are dolphins are bisexual. Like, there are lots of animals and species that don't necessarily have differentiation between the sexual organs because it's reproductive. It's not just reproductive. So you're looking at nature, you think, sex is only for reproduction. No, there are lots of animals that have sex for recreation. And so if it's for recreation, then it doesn't matter if this can lead to reproduction or not. There are species of insect that start off male and end up female. So there are no absolutes in nature. Some motherfuckers go, that's not natural. Tell me more. You know what I'm saying? Like, tell me how it's not natural because you don't understand what natural looks like. You don't know nature. We live in concrete jungles. I got fake plants at my house because I kill them. I have a money tree that I haven't killed yet.
Okay.
His name is Moneybag Yo. And he's flourishing.
I love it. I love it. Yo, you know what I wanted to ask you too? You touched on it a little bit earlier. What are some of the common misconceptions or myths that we as black men have when it comes to sex, pleasure, that kind of thing?
Ooh. Do I talk to the camera too or just you?
No, however you want to do it.
Because this I need people to pay attention.
Yeah, so talk to the camera. Don't even talk to me. Talk to the camera, yeah.
So I think one of the biggest myths is that this right here is going to make somebody come. That is false. Quit playing. This is part of it. But just the in and out motion, just deek in and out is not going to make us come. A vaginal orgasm is a blended orgasm, which means you maybe want to tip your hips forward to hit that clit a little more or rub your thumb on it while you're stroking because add to it. It's all about the angle, the rhythm, the wetness, the thickness, the stroke, the hardness, all of it working together to create a blended orgasm. So if you think that pumping, what you're doing is really getting her there, it's not. Rub the clit. Lick your thumb and rub the clit with your thumb. Get a little finger vibe and put it on your thumb and run the vibrator across that thing while you're stroking. You're welcome. You know what I'm saying? Shave your balls, okay? And put lubricant on your balls because it adds your balls to the party. Just saying. But those are some misconceptions because all of those things will help add to the sensation, add levels to the pleasure, right? Which can make them more receptive to some different orgasms that we're not used to, right? So the main misconception is your dick is enough. It's not. Thanks. Come into my TED Talk.
Son, there's so much that we need to get into. What you just said. First of all, the lubricant on the balls.
Yes,
thing.
Game changer. You're welcome.
Bruh.
Goody taught you.
Bruh.
But they got to be like, you got to narrow them or something. You can't just have.
Oh, no. I know. You
what
can't
I'm
just
saying?
have the forest down there.
Because basically the testicles are dick titties. Okay. So, like, just like with women, when we're aroused, our breasts can take a little more jostling, right? And it feels good. Just like when y'all are aroused, your balls can take a little more jostling and it feels good. But if you just chilling and I come up and try to rub on your balls, that shit's not gonna feel great.
Right.
If I'm watching TV and you come try to rub on my titties, that shit don't feel great. So what I tell the people that play with balls is that they are dick titties. So think of them in the sensitivity levels of arousal versus non-arousal. But if you embody your testicles that way, right? You lube them up. Shit, some little slicked up titties is great, right? But when you pull the hair off or you nair it and you're creating a new surface plane because the hair kind of dampens the sensation.
Right.
So you renewed the surface plane. The testicles have great surface area. You know what I'm saying? And if you lube them up, now they're wetter, so they're more sensitive. It also kind of adds a little lube to the motion, whatever's going on up there. You know what I'm saying? So it just kind of adds your balls to the game. It's like put me in, coach. You know what I'm saying? It's taking the balls off the bench. You know, because I did like a informal survey of people with dicks, and I was like, when you're getting a blowjob, what do you feel like is missing? Most of them said the balls. But if you add lubricant to your balls, then they're automatically involved. And if she's taken my lick workshop, the balls will never be neglected again.
Oh my Lord Jesus.
So I'm just saying, like, we don't involve all the parts of our bodies. And so because the global conversation around pleasure is dick shaped, I think most men grow up with the idea that their dick is the center of the pleasure for everyone. And that's why the pleasure gap exists. And that's why my job is to help close it. Right? So when we center our own pleasure, it's one thing. But when you center your partner's pleasure, that session looks different. Now, I teach people to center their own pleasure, but I teach you how to center your pleasure in a way that you derive pleasure from your partners. So it's kind of like it's a circuit, right? And I don't teach people like I had a guy be like, yeah, you need to be teaching them blowjob classes, teach them girls how to please their man. Actually, I don't give a fuck about your pleasure. I'm teaching people how to suck dick with confidence.
Say that again. That just sound like, you know what I'm saying? That just sound like, you know what I'm saying?
I'm teaching people how to suck dick with confidence. So you are centering your pleasure. You're doing what feels good to you. Because if you're enjoying performing oral sex, then you'll do it more often. And this is now I teach this so I have lip service, which is oral sex on the vulva, and I have lick, which is oral sex on the penis. So I teach all the sexual acts. Okay. So if you are connected to the pleasure that you're providing, that will bring you pleasure. And so I tell people, if you have not reached, and this is for all people, whether you're eating pussy or sucking a dick, if you have not reached orgasm from performing oral sex, your life is incomplete. And in my workshops, I teach people how to enjoy performing oral sex so much that they reach orgasm. Now, usually it's like, use some sort of toy or accessory or stimulate your own genitals while you're performing oral sex. So it kind of gets this operant conditioning, right? This sort of Pavlovian response of giving and receiving pleasure. And after a while, the muscle memory of that, you may not need to stimulate your genitals while performing oral sex anymore. That operant condition will be like, oh, we sucking dick today? Okay, so we know what to do down here. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of creates you training your own body, right? But then also adding sex toys to the game for you and your partner's pleasure. But again, it's your pleasure I'm centering. Your partner's pleasure is just a happy benefit of that.
Right.
Because you're including them in the scenario instead of making it just about you or just about them. Again, that balance.
All right, I'm interrupting this podcast episode to let you guys know to leave a review on the podcast. Please, 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 if you are listening to this episode and you're finding value in this episode, you're enjoying the conversation, or you've enjoyed a previous episode or conversation, and it's safe to operate your phone right now, please leave us a review. Your review is a free and easy way to support us, and it helps us reach more people like you. We're on a mission to build a stronger, more connected Black community, starting with Black men. And you can help us on that mission by taking a minute out of your day to leave a review. Your review helps us generate more listeners, which in turn generates more revenue, allowing us to expand the platform even further.
So please take a few seconds out of your day. I know you're busy. I understand. I know you're doing a lot, but it will help us greatly if you would just take a few seconds out of your day to leave a review right now. Did you leave a review yet? All right, let's get back to the episode. Man. Listen, you selling me on the course, okay?
I'm telling you.
You selling me on the course.
I'm telling you. People be like, I have dudes ask me all the time, oh man, can dudes come to the blowjob class? They thinking they being creepy, skeevy. I'm like, yeah, you can come to if you're trying to suck some dick.
Oh no, I ain't talking about the blowjob class.
I'm saying sure all of them. The pussy in class, all of
yeah.
it. And so I'm teaching sexual acts. So if you take the pussy in class, there may be women in there with you because they eating pussy too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I teach a sexual act. I don't teach. It becomes the orientation when you talk about the humans having the interactions.
Right.
But I really try to help people center their pleasure. I have testimonials from partners of people that have taken my class. I love to see people with their partners in the street. I was at the nail place yesterday, and this lady and her husband were getting pedicures, and she was like, Goody. And then she was like, babe, this is Goody. And he was like, Rhydology Goody?
You've changed my life.
And I was like, he was like, yo, they paid for my nails.
Right. Oh, word.
Yeah.
Oh.
He was like, whatever she got.
That's on us.
Yeah. And I had my daughter with me. So
I love it.
They were like, we love your mom. And she was like, I love her too. She didn't know.
I love it.
She's not tripping.
I love that, man. I love that so much. I love a good testimonial, man. That's when you really feel real proud about the work that you're doing, man. I think it's really, really helpful for real because there's a lot of people that struggle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you think you have to learn everything else. Why do you think you'd automatically be good at sex? You take lessons for every fucking thing else. Mm-hmm. And I try to make them for people like I do them in person, but like you can buy the replay on the workshop, on the website, and you ain't never got to see me in real life. I'll never know. Right. And you in the comfort of your own home. And that's why I made it like that, because I want it to be accessible for people.
Right.
Because if it's not accessible, it's not revolutionary, and I consider myself a revolutionary.
Man, you speaking. First of all, one of the things that you said earlier that I wanted to get into was about men and like some of the things that we can do during sex to help our partners receive that pleasure.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
And you were saying with women specifically, when we're having sex with women, to use our fingers, right? And that it's a blended experience.
Yes.
I think that can be very uncomfortable for some men because we've been taught for so long that
the dick is enough. Yeah, it's not.
You know what I'm saying? And we also, you also have to remember, like, even if we go deeper, we attach a lot of our masculinity and what it means to be a man to our dick.
Yeah, I know. Like, that's it. Like, and people are struggling and fighting for man to equal dick and dick to equal man. And that is it. And that's what they're trying to base everything else on that's going on, socially with the world. But that's not it. There are people that don't have the external penis, but they're men. Or a micro penis, that's an actual medical condition. Like, are they not men? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's dangerous to base your identity on a gender role that has no clear definition. Like, you can't be a man if it's so many different ways to be a man. There's no one way to be a man. Prince wore high heels. Was he less of a man? No, because he could take your bitch and you know it. You know what I'm saying? That didn't make him less of a man. So we have these arbitrary ideas and understanding. There's no clear-cut way to do it. How can you base your identity on that? Root your identity in your sense of humor or your intellect or your religious practices or your work ethic or what you do for a living, or, you know what I'm saying? Let your roles cumulatively become your identity instead of this arbitrary social construct that was assigned to you based on your genitals.
Oh, that's wild to think about.
You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, it's a boy. Okay, now what? Right? From the moment they say it's a boy, the trajectory of how that child's going to be raised changes before it even gets here. When they say it's a girl, now everything is fucking pink. You know what I'm saying? Everything is pink. That's ridiculous. Or we don't buy our boys dolls, and we don't, the girls get the cook kitchen and she get the baby dolls so she know how to feed herself and take care of her children. Boys don't get cook kitchens and dolls so they can learn how to feed themselves and take care of their children.
It starts so young.
You see what I'm saying? So if we just didn't even do that, maybe that little boy want to be a chef. You know what I'm saying?
And if we even go even deeper, right? Like, if boys do get dolls, we get like wrestlers or like action figures.
Yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying? So
violence.
we're being taught from young.
Yeah, y'all get guns, y'all get all kind of shit. I have boys and girls, children, and I say that I raised them gender neutral in the sense that if the clothes were cute, I bought them. You know, if they wanted a Tonka truck instead of a Barbie doll, that's what they got. If they wanted a Barbie doll instead of a Tonka truck, that's what they got. You know what I'm saying? I want them to learn science and math and art. And you know what I'm saying? We limit our kids based on what we feel like their interest should be based on their gender.
Right.
So I gave my kids, all my kids can cook and clean in real ass life. They can all use tools in real life. Because I didn't say, oh, the girls don't need to learn how to do that. Or the boys don't need to learn how to do that. You know what I'm saying? And that helps create complete people.
Right.
So that when they become partnering age, they are bringing a wholeness that doesn't currently exist, I don't think, into a relationship that can then grow. And they become a whole piece of a puzzle as opposed to a half.
Right.
Right? Like we can share labor, we can do the things because it's both of our house. Why am I gonna not do the dishes and just wait till you get home to do the dishes when I've been here?
Right.
And it's my house too.
Right. Yeah, I think there's a huge. So I talk about like wanting my girl to cook and clean and that kind of thing, right? And I think a lot of times when we have that conversation, because of how we've been socialized, a lot of people automatically assume that I don't do that. My girl's right here. We can have the conversation on camera, off camera, however you want to do it. I cook a lot. You know what I'm saying? I cook a lot. I cook well. You know, I know how to do it. Right?
Then do it.
I know, and exactly, and I do it because I understand I'm at home in the crib, right? Like I work remotely, so
you there anyway.
I'm here, and I have to eat. I'm not gonna
you do
exactly. Exactly, right? I have to eat. I have to take care of myself. And I think when we socialize men to think that, well, you don't have to do this and someone's going to do it for you, you're also socializing that man to be dependent.
Ooh.
And we don't even understand
and
that.
And dependent sound like weak. Ooh.
Right, and then that's a whole thing
We can't
too.
be weak. Like,
right.
You dependent on a woman, but you don't trust women. You don't make women feel safe. You don't respect women. You like pussy. You don't like women. But you dependent on a woman for everything. And if you only love women and not pussy, then you are thinking with your dick because you think that is the central of our desire. We don't want nothing else because women are not people. Women are walking vaginas. When I have conversations around reproductive justice and things like that, and I say, women are people that give birth or birthing people. Why don't you just say women? You're erasing women. No, when I say people that give birth, I'm reminding the world that women are people too.
Right.
That's expanding the definition of women, not constricting it. If I say people that give birth, that means women who happen to be people and people that don't identify as women. People that give birth. Imagine if women were treated like motherfucking people. But I'm wilding. I'm the problem.
No, you're not the problem. You educating, and sometimes that education can come with a lot of backlash and misconception and misunderstanding initially.
Because education is power, and you don't want powerful black folk. You don't want educated black folk. You don't want well-rounded, healthy, balanced. Because the definition of white masculinity is wide as fuck. They getting maddies and petties and kissing each other in the mouth and shit, but they can still be a man. Whereas the definition of black masculinity don't look like that. A black man getting a pedicure, he better be there with his girl.
And he better be sitting, not getting it.
You know what I'm saying?
He better be waiting for her.
He better have his socks on getting a pedicure. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because you can't be anything else, but you have to be this imbalanced version of yourself. But if we were balanced and coming into relationships balanced.
Bruh, it would change the whole community.
Or if there were clear definitions of masculine and feminine, that would also bring balance because if you are masculine and they are feminine, when y'all come together, you bring balance. If there were clear lines of what that was. But that also doesn't assume that both people are, one's a man and one's a woman. That's that masculine and feminine energy. Like it's when you bring it in, it's so complicated and people want to make it this thing.
Right.
It's not that. Yeah.
Man, what what do you feel like some of the challenges that we're having when it comes to like sexual health in the black community?
Sexual health?
Yeah.
Oh,
public health, sexual health?
I think the biggest thing in the Black community is we don't wear condoms. We don't wear condoms. Condoms are cheaper than child support. Condoms are cheaper than prescriptions. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't wear condoms. For those of us, Black women are the most educated, new business owner, upper level degree having bitches on the planet. But when you have all that and you have your life together, your partnership selection looks different. You don't need a provider. You need a companion. And that looks a little different. And so when you feel like you dating down, or you not tripping, but the partner feel, they trying to make you feel away, and you're having sex with your partner, sometimes you have to like affirm them differently because they, like if you're out earning them or whatever, you have to do this performative feminine thing as this boss outside the world, right? And part of that is making your man feel like a man. So if he don't want to use no condom, then you're not using a condom. And then for the flip side, for the people that wear the condoms, right? What I say is if you have a penis, you should be masturbating with a condom on. Now, the reason, there's 3 reasons.
Please.
If you have a penis, you should be masturbating with a condom on because A, it helps you get better with skill building. You get good at putting it on because a lot of times condoms break for user error. And I can't get into school and teach people how to use a condom to close that user error gap because that would be stupid to teach people a skill. So you get bad. You get skilled at putting it on. Second, you start to associate pleasure and condom use. Because the main complaint is it don't feel the same. It's not going to feel the same, but it can still feel good. And if you're masturbating with a condom on, it helps associate condom use and pleasure. And third, it's a quicker cleanup. So you know why your socks and washcloths are on laundry day. But I'm saying, if you practicing, you're not tripping. If you practicing, like people, I have a 19-year-old, and they're like, is your son sexually active? Yeah, Mm-hmm. Well, when did you know? I didn't. I just figured it out because I put condoms in his room every month, and he started needing them more. He needed a re-up. I get a text message like, can I get a new in the box? What? You know what I'm saying? But I didn't need a press conference because I prepared him for success. And I know we discussed, self-pleasure and things like that and how to use a condom for that. And so I make sure you got condoms in the lube every month. I re-up like Amazon. You know what I'm saying? And so when it comes time for him to make those decisions with a partner, he just going to do what he always been doing. I'm not going to be a grandmother before I'm 50. You know what I'm saying? Because I prepared him for success. And if you're already out here fucking and you start to masturbate with a condom on, again, you can start to retrain your body and retrain yourself for what pleasure can look like.
Right.
It's not a restriction of pleasure. It's an expansion of pleasure. It's just another way to get some pleasure.
I love the way you word that.
Thank you.
Because I think a lot of times for us, listen, I'll speak for myself. I'm like, man, I got to put a condom on, bro.
So what you out there doing? Why I need a condom?
I'm like, bro, I got to put a condom on. Oh, Lord Jesus.
Also, polyisoprene condoms are probably better for people to use. Lifestyle Skin, SKYN, is a polyisoprene condom. So it is not rubber, so it doesn't dry the body out. Rubber works against your natural moisture. So it's not rubber, so it doesn't dry you out. It doesn't smell like rubber, and it uses a different lubricant that's kind of heat conducting. So you can feel the warmth of your partner. It's super thin, so you can feel every ridge, every squeeze, everything. And they're amazing. I used to break latex condoms, and I know how to put them on. I've never broken a Lifestyle Skin condom.
You're going to have to plug me in with that. What's the name?
Lifestyle. It's from Lifestyles.
Okay.
It's Skin, SKYN. They got them everywhere. I need to check Lifestyle because I say this everywhere I go. I'm gonna have my people call your people.
Nah, for real, you need something because that was a great. You could take that whole little.
It's a public health. That's the public health in me, right? Mm-hmm. Because if people with penises are practicing and they having sex with condoms on, no matter how old they are when they start fucking, they're not reproducing. They're not changing their sexual health status. They're not acquiring STIs or HIV or any of that. If that could be a shift in our culture and our shift around conversation of pleasure, then can you imagine the lower amounts of teen parenting, STIs, HIV, unwanted pregnancy? Like,
that would actually change a lot.
It would change so much.
You know what I love that you talked about? Your relationship with your son.
Yeah.
And how you put condoms in his room and lubricant and then, start re-upping it, and that led to like a natural way of you understanding when he was being sexually active.
I really didn't even pay attention. He told me. I was like, what? He was like, yeah, because I got a date and I was like, you fucking? Like, I didn't know. I was like, are you fucking? I didn't know that.
Let me ask you this, right? Like, how did you start having those conversations about sex and like reproducing and like what was that like for you?
Well, my son and I have been close his whole life, and I didn't get married to my partner till he was 9.
Okay.
So, I mean, I was married to his dad at first. We got divorced when he was like 8 months old, so he don't remember that part. But, like, it's just been me and him. So we've always been kind of cool. Like, my parenting style is more guidance, not control. I'm going to let you make a choice, but you're going to get the consequences of that choice or the benefits of that choice. And so I think it's a culture that I created in my home. It wasn't one conversation. And I think that's a big misconception for parents, is that it's just the talk. And then you're good. And then also what we think our kids need to know or what we think our kids don't know don't look shit like what they know. When I go to colleges, the administration will tell me the topics they want me to cover. I go and do my little presentation. I open up for Q&A. These babies are asking about, if I have an STI and I don't tell my partner, is that a Title IX violation? Is it okay for me to make my sub wear a leash in class? Like, they're asking about things that are far beyond how to put a condom on.
Right. They advanced.
But the adults are thinking, well, this is where I was when I was that age.
Right. It's a whole different.
It don't look the same. We didn't have Instagram in the late 1900s. So I need us to understand that it looks different and what we think they need ain't what they need.
Right.
And so you have to have a culture in your home where your children can feel safe asking questions and let them lead the conversation. Don't just come in thinking you know what they need to know. But you have to create that culture, because if you say, oh, I have an open door and they know they can talk to me about anything, a lot of parents assume their kids are straight. If your kid ain't straight, there's certain shit you do that they peep different that make you feel like you're not a safe space. Or you say, oh, you like a little girl in your class? And your son say, nah. He not lying, because he don't like a little girl in his class. If you say, oh, is there somebody in your class you like? Then you ask a different question. You like one of your little classmates? You asked a different question, but it's the same question. Right. And so when you do things like that, you kind of groom your children indirectly of what they can and cannot come to you about.
It's that
heteronormative, compulsory heteronormativity. I love words.
No.
The grill ain't stopping shit. I know, I still pronounce it.
No. Speak on that. What is that for people that don't understand?
Compulsory heteronormativity is basically the understanding, the ambient understanding in culture that everybody is straight until otherwise identified. Straight until otherwise identified. Like the Disney princesses. You a princess and a prince has to come save you and kiss you in the mouth without asking consent because you've been drugged by your stepmother.
That is just trauma on top of trauma. You know, like, that's a crazy story. I never even really
shit
thought
is
about
wild, right?
That's just wild.
And we cool with that. The prince and the princess kissing each other in the mouth. But if it had been two princesses,
outrage.
The children. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't want nobody making out in front of my kids. How about that? Get a room. You know, but the compulsory heteronormativity is straight is okay and everyone is straight until otherwise identified. In general, everyone is male until otherwise identified. In general, everyone is white until otherwise identified. Right? So that compulsory heteronormativity is the assumption that everybody's straight. We don't even make space for it. It's a men's restroom and a women's restroom. If a gay man is in a men's restroom with his dick's out, people ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
It doesn't mean anything. But you want to put this compulsory heteronormativity on it where, okay, the girl clothes and the boy clothes and the girl toys, you can't even buy your son a kitchen if you want to because they're all pink and purple. You know what I'm saying?
Right. They don't even come in the colors that
but why I don't want a pink kitchen either. I don't want a purple kitchen. I want my kitchen like my mama kitchen. You know what I'm saying? But the colors have been gendered, the toys have been gendered, therefore the behaviors have been gendered, the expectations have been gendered, all of it. And so that does us a disservice because why can't we, if we took the gender off of it, those would be behaviors and character traits that we would want in everyone. So why would you know what I'm saying? Why would you purposely imbalance yourself in this way?
That's why I always tell men, I was like, yo, bro, you gotta at least know how to make a couple meals for yourself, bro. You cannot be out here.
Not anymore. Uber Eats.
I mean,
Hello Fresh.
I mean, I listen. I understand all that. I'm talking about the men that were where I was at. I couldn't even Uber Eats it. You know what I'm saying? Because I was at the point where I was like, bro, you got to save your bread. Like, and you Uber Eating all the time, them service fees, those delivery fees on top of what it costs versus what it will cost for you to get it yourself or make it yourself. You know what I'm saying? I was like, bro, this ain't a good financial decision. That's why I said, yo, you got to learn how to make some food on yourself by yourself. And then also that teaches you, like, bro, this ain't just, oh yeah, go cook and clean and it's just simple. Like, bro, that shit take work. I sometimes be like, damn, I got to cook today. Fuck. And you want somebody to do that every week?
And without complaint.
You know, with no complaints, and you just, it's all good. Like, nah, bro, that takes a lot of work and energy and time. You got to understand the amount of preparation that it takes to get to that point.
You got to plan the meal. You got to go, you got to procure the groceries. You got to put them away. You got to, listen, even with that, when you framing cooking, with you framing learning how to cook to feed yourself as a good financial decision, more men will receive that. Than the part when you was talking about, so you'll at least understand how the work.
Yeah, the last part, they're like, fuck that. I don't care about that. But money, save me some money. Yeah, we good
I was talking to my husband the other day because I said something about, and I said, yeah, because I ordered groceries. He said, oh, we have some of that? I said, yeah, because I ordered groceries. He said, oh, I didn't know. I said, that's right, because the food just appears in front of you. You don't go in there, you don't know what's in there. Right. Shit just appears, materializes right in front of you. It does. It does, because I do the cooking. It actually does. I order the groceries and I make sure the kids put the shit away. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I manage it.
You delegate.
But he don't be there because he be at work.
Right.
So he don't know when the food come. He just know it's there when he get there.
Right.
And I was like, I'm glad that you have that privilege. It makes me happy to know that my husband don't know what's in the fucking refrigerator.
Right.
He don't know what's in there because he don't go in there.
I love that.
You know, but you know, I'm masculine and I'm ugly and I'm fat and I'm single and I'm all these other things and I don't know what I'm talking about.
People don't know.
My husband is chilling. He can't cook. He probably cook. He makes burgers.
Listen.
Burgers and noodles. They gonna die when I travel. My Uber bill goes up, not because of me.
Cause he in there.
They be Uber Eats and I try to order shit that they can just put in the oven and. Because my son can cook.
Oh, word? Okay.
But he's just like, Mom, when you're gone, I have to do all the cooking.
Right.
Because he cooks for himself. He orders his own groceries.
You don't cook in bulk.
And he does. He has a cast iron skillet. I don't even have a cast iron skillet.
Oh, he out there.
He's not playing.
Okay.
So he buy his own groceries and he cook his own food. He was like, Mom, when you're gone, like, I gotta cook the food.
Right. And you see that, but just that in itself is teaching him. Understanding like what it means to cook and provide, because that's also providing.
It's provision, absolutely.
For a family. Yeah. Right? It's a big responsibility, bro.
It is.
Like when I cook, because I cook on Sunday. And when Sunday's coming up, I'm thinking on Saturday, because I order the groceries probably on Saturday or Sunday morning. I'm like, damn, what do I want to eat? I don't even know
you got to plan it.
Bro. Like,
the invisible labor.
I don't even know what I want to eat, bro. That's mental capacity right there. I don't even want to make that decision.
Let me tell you, I have some sheets I got off Etsy.
What's up?
I have a cabinet audit, a fridge audit, a freezer audit, a pantry audit.
Okay.
I make the kids go in and do the audit. Then I tell me what I got so I can figure out what I need. I have a little meal planning thing, what I want to make. So I look at what I got. What can I make out of what I got? That's going on automatically. Then what do I need to make the other shit? And that's how I make my grocery list.
You know what's, let me pause you real quick right there. You know, we would associate that as a masculine trait, right?
Why?
Because that's you organizing and delegating. Oh. Right?
Okay.
But you know, I wanted to point that out because the importance in that is that men want women to be feminine, but they don't understand that what the feminine traits that you want her to have, she needs to use masculine in those as well. You want her to cook and clean. What you think is she's just going to be ditzy when she's doing it and not have no structure and plan around it?
But but what you're saying is ditzy when she do it and not have no structure around it. That's the feminine. That's the default.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
For her to not be that's masculine.
That's what I'm saying.
So like the understanding of feminine is wild as fuck, inept, incapable,
right,
beautiful, and incapable,
right,
pretty and dumb.
It's wild, but that's why I want to point out what you just said, because I think the structure around how you do it is very important for people to understand. Like, yo, bro, it's not just the food just appears.
It's household management.
Right. It's a whole thing. You're a CEO of it.
I am. It's human resources. The kids got to do this, and this. These are the deliverables. These are the KPIs. I use the budget from the cost center to order the inventory. Like, it's a thing.
Exactly.
It's a whole fucking thing. But no, that's masculine. But if you simply identify that stuff as feminine and masculine, you're not only doing a disservice. If people actually walked by those arbitrary ass check marks, the world would be in shambles even more than it is. Mm-hmm. Like, if all we did was just look pretty and laugh at your jokes and cook food, we don't know how to cook the food. We just putting fire to it because you have to use science to cook, and science is for men. So we can't use science to cook. So how are we, like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, it's just so arbitrary and so oppressive.
Yeah, we gotta really understand. Like, we gotta dive way past that, man. Dive way past that and understand, like, it's not one thing for one person. I think a lot of that has to do with the gender roles too, right? Like, when we get into relationships, we just assume that the gender role is, okay, you do this or you do that.
Right, straight to otherwise identified.
Mm-hmm. and exactly. And if you're a man and you are straight and you're with a woman, then she must cook and clean and you must go out and provide. And what I've seen in my relationship, because, you know, I still come in, what I tell people is gender roles, if you're in a straight relationship, it's a starting point. It's a starting point. What that means is that your partner may cook and clean, right, as a traditional gender role. And as if you're a man, you're getting with a woman. And if you're a woman getting with a man, your partner may provide, but as a financial provision, right? But that doesn't mean that's just because that's where we're starting doesn't mean that that's where we're ending. Because you get in that relationship, you start seeing things like, yo, man, my girl actually don't want to cook that much. And maybe she's not that good at doing the laundry and doing this and doing that. And maybe I should take up time for this or take up time
maybe
for that.
I'm better at that than her, so I should do that.
So you should.
But even with that, right, if you're talking about, the gender role is like the baseline, but you don't know where they came from. Maybe they had a stay-at-home dad. Maybe the mom was, maybe they had a single dad and not a single mom. You know what I'm saying? So you don't even know what they're coming into the relationship with the gender roles in their minds. And most women work outside the home and inside the home because we have to provide for ourselves, right? We have to cook and feed ourselves and clean our own homes and work outside the home to pay for that shit. So when we get together, if you wasn't cooking and cleaning at your house and you only had one skill set and here I am with two, but you want me, you the one need to learn my skills. Why do I have to keep, you know what I'm saying? Like, at that point, you're not even coming in being an asset.
Oh, there go that word. Oh, you on it. You on your.
You're not even coming in the game as an asset, fam, because I was already doing that shit. So if you want me to work inside and outside the home, you need to too. And so that gender role perception may shift for the people when they're starting at baseline as well, because there are certain things we assume you gonna do too.
Right.
Like, I'm not taking out trash. I didn't get married to pump my own gas either.
Yo,
that single girl shit, I'm not doing it.
One thing my girl not gonna do is take that trash out.
No, I'll be like, I look at you, I'm gonna look at the trash. I'm gonna look at you, I'm gonna look at the trash.
You may put it at the door, but that's as far as it's going.
I'm gonna start sitting shit next to the trash can. I'm not even finna pull the bag out. I'm not. You see these nails? Are you serious? No.
Nah, but that I agree with wholeheartedly. Though.
No.
that I agree with.
My daddy used to come in my house and take my trash out.
Oh, word?
When I lived, me and my son by myself, my daddy would come and take my trash out every other day.
Wow.
Like,
I love that. But that you know what that taught you though? That's how things should be. And
that's how fathers should show up. Like, when I was pimping, I wouldn't date a dude if he had kids and he wasn't actively co-parenting. I don't go, that bitch crazy. Oh, so you're talking about the woman you had a baby with. You're not protecting her. You don't know me like that. All that shit, how you interact with your co-parent, tells me a lot about you. But I can't deal with a dude that got kids that don't parent them.
Right. What do you think about dudes? Because I just had a conversation with a guy, Acha. It was like a few podcasts ago, where we were talking about co-parenting and just the difficulty with it because he has a co-parent that's not making it very hard for him to see his child. What do you think about in those situations? Like, what if it's that kind of situation?
I think in those situations, you do have to play the court game to get what you need. But I would think in part of taking your co-parent to court, you want like court-ordered co-parent counseling because that's a thing.
Okay. Oh, you can get that.
Yes. And so co-parenting, you can get it on your own. You don't have to go through the court to get it. You can there are counselors that specifically work in co-parenting dynamics.
Okay.
And so if you really care and you like, oh, she just won't, and it's her, use the court system to make it court order because she's not going to go to therapy if it's her. Right? Use the court system to your advantage and not as a detriment to get court order, co-parent counseling, mediation, child support visitation, all of the things. Because there's nothing that woman can do that's going to keep you from your kid if you want to be with your kid. You're going to exhaust every possibility. Legal aid, you know what I'm saying? You're not just going to fall on your back because you hit a wall with your baby mama.
Right.
If that's your kid and you want to be a co-parent, you're going to be exhausted, you're going to be frustrated, but you're going to be still trying to make it happen. You're not just going to give up. So even in those dynamics, it says something about you as a parent. Now, I will say this. Sometimes things happen. Somebody gets pregnant. You don't want the kid. They do. So they have it. But you didn't want it. So if you don't want it, the only thing you can do is relinquish your parental rights and go on about your life. You can't be like, well, they trapped me with child support. No, you can sign over your parental rights and you would not be financially responsible for that child. The problem is that we have a social stigma of you just gave up your kid and blah, blah, blah. Is giving up your kid worse than complaining about their ass their whole life? You know what I'm saying? Because you complaining because you got to pay child support on a kid you didn't even want. Then don't pay it. Relinquish your parental rights and go on about your life.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yes. Absolutely.
Why don't?
Because they don't want to look like deadbeats. They want to be deadbeats, but they don't want to look like deadbeats.
You think they know that though?
Okay, you're right. That may not be common knowledge. I've watched enough legal dramas, But no, that may not be common knowledge. And maybe we need to make sure that people are aware that they can relinquish their parental rights, which means you have no right to the child. You ain't got to show up on birthdays, Christmases, graduations, no financial support, no medical support, no nothing. But that also means that your name is not on the birth certificate. You are not acknowledged as a parent to this child. So when they make it to the NBA, you can't come back on your bullshit. That's the only difference.
Yo, you my son.
Right, yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I know you're my son because I signed you away. Like, that's it's not how that works. So, but there are legal options if you genuinely, they said they want to keep it and you're like, no, and you genuinely just want to let it go. Do that. I say it's healthier for the child to do it before the child is even born, or maybe you have to wait till after the child is born. I don't know, but not waiting until they're 3.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Just do it because sometimes it's better to walk away than to be somewhere and have animosity and resentment for a situation that you helped create.
I'm glad you said that. Because I never knew that was a route that people could take. I'm sure that that's going to be something new for people to hear.
I always take for granted what people already know.
Yeah, because you know so much, right? You got to understand, you've put in the work. You've been doing this for 17 years, right? Yeah. There's a lot of stuff to you that's common knowledge and common sense at this point that a lot of us
this is true.
Just don't know.
I have to remind myself when I'm talking about human sexuality topics, I have to remind myself about that. But what we're talking about is still human sexuality.
Of course.
And it's so expansive that I really do forget what people's baseline understanding is sometimes.
And along the lines of that point, right? What can people do to start to understand more, right? Like, what are some things that someone that may not know much right now, or maybe just the average black man can do to start to learn more about taking care of himself, maybe closing the pleasure gap, that kind of thing?
Okay, so I definitely think the first thing that a black man can do is masturbate with condoms on. Okay. First and foremost. Okay. You can masturbate with condoms on. Second thing I'll say is take care of your physical health, because our emotional and our mental is so overwhelming that sometimes we lose sight of our physical, but that is the body that carries you through life. So even when your mental and your emotional ain't right, your body will still carry you through the day. And so just make sure that you are in, like if you have diabetes or hypertension, like get your checkups regularly, all of that, because that your body is going to have to stay intact to support your mind.
Goody. This has been an adventure. It's been entertaining. It's been educating. Thank you so much for this. Can you please tell the people about the courses? You've sold it enough. At this point, I'm about to go on the site and take a look at
I'm saying, I'll send you one.
Yeah, please, for sure. Tell people how they can support you, how they can find you, all of that.
Okay, well, my name is Goody, and everyone asks Goody everything. So ASKGOODY. I'm Ask Goody everywhere. My website is askgoody.com. Email is info@askgoody.com. I do pleasure development and professional development. So the pleasure development is, of course, I sell the sex toys, pleasure tools. I teach sexual skill building workshops like Rideology, where I teach people how to ride dick with their vagina and their anus or caress two vulvas together. Strokeology for people with penises and people that wear dildos. Lick, which is oral sex on a penis workshop. Lip service, which is oral sex on a vulva workshop. The Big O, where I cover the 18 different kinds of orgasms and how to access them with and without a partner. Sensual intelligence, which separates sensuality from sexuality and defines sensuality as a common practice. So you can book me for any of those workshops. The replays of those are for sale on my website at all times, so you can go through it in the comfort of your own home. You can book me for a one-on-one consult. You can hire me to do a pleasure tool party for you and your people, or a Rideology party for you and your people. If you run the DEI department or the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion department at your job, you can hire me to teach about sex, gender, and orientation, navigating pronouns, and sex through the lifespan. All the things. Check me out at askgoody.com. You can see all the different ways to book me and do shit. I'm at colleges doing Ask a Sexologist and sex trivia on a regular basis. So hit me up and book your girl.
Book her. Book her. I love it. We good.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Express Yourself Black Man podcast. We really hope you gained some valuable insight on things you could do differently with your healing journey and with the black man in your life. If you found value in this episode, please, please, please leave us a review on whatever platform you listen or watch the podcast on. Your review is a free and easy way to support us, and it helps us reach more people like you. We're on a mission to build a stronger, more connected black community, starting with black men. And you can help us on that mission by taking a minute to leave a review. Your review helps us generate more listeners, which in turn generates more revenue, allowing us to expand our platform even further. And speaking of expansion, we're in the middle of that process right now with the Black Man Safe Haven. We're expanding the Safe Haven platform to add more benefits so we can continue to support the demand we've received from this audience. During this time, we've paused enrollment to Safe Haven, but we invite you to sign up for the waitlist. Safe Haven is our holistic healing platform where we take the stress out of the healing journey for black men. In Safe Haven, we provide you or the black man you know with access to a black mental health professional so you can finally heal from the things you find it difficult to talk about, and you will receive support from over 200 black men that are all on their healing journey so you don't have to heal alone anymore. You'll also get access to weekly meditations led by wellness experts, support group sessions led by black therapists, a library of over 200 articles geared towards black men's healing, master classes, and more. You can join the Safe Haven waitlist right now by going to www.expressyourselfblackman.com/safe-haven-waitlist or by clicking the link in the description of this podcast episode. Don't wait. Do not wait. We've had hundreds of signups for Safe Haven already, and we'll be opening enrollment soon. Due to capacity, we may not be able to service everyone, so don't hesitate to sign up now to secure your spot or the spot of a black man you know as soon as enrollment opens. Thank you again for listening to the Express Yourself Black Man podcast. We'll be back soon with more dope episodes, and until then, take care of yourself first, then the people around you. Love y'all.
Sometimes I know you feel like you ain't got nobody to speak to. Shoulder to lean on somebody you could preach to. No, you need to hear it, my brother, I love you. We got way too much to live for. We got way too much to live for.